Good morning, everyone. I'm going to call this regular meeting of council together. Any disclosures of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof? Seeing none, review of items not listed on the agenda. Madam Deputy Clerk.
Through you, Your Worship, we have 2 items of correspondence and an additional report on the addendum.
Thank you. Announcements. I want to start off saying that our hearts and prayers are with Councillor Pat Malloy in the loss of his father yesterday. And as soon as I hear the arrangements, I will certainly make all council members aware. Pat has had a pretty horrendous summer between both his parents in different hospitals, and I know that this is going to be a very trying time, and we're certainly there to support him in any way that we can. While I'm on announcements, I just want to say that it was probably one of the best fairs I've been at for a few years. The exhibit hall was amazing, both in the fruits and flowers and vegetables, but also the handcrafts and the children's sections were just amazing. Also, the tents this year, the way that they were set up, I thought was excellent. I know on Friday night I went by on my way to Pet, make sure my animals had some food for the weekend. Went to Pet Value at shortly 10, I guess it was about 10 to 6 or something, and the parking lots were both full. They were turning people away, so you had to find the parking outside of the 2 areas that we have. So I heard the Friday night tractor pull was amazing, and the demolition derby on Saturday night was excellent as well. So I'm so happy for them because of 3 years of torrential rains, and the thought of losing that fair because they didn't have the money to go on was a hard pill to swallow for all of us, and I'm sure that would have never happened. We would have found the money somewhere. But anyway, it was a great weekend. Now I'll pass it on to somebody else to fill in where I first of all, don't forget this next weekend I have 9 events over 2 days. It is crazy. It's a studio tour. It's the there's something going on at Branch 170 of the Legion. There's Terry Fox run starting on Sunday morning. There's art in the fringe, yeah, up at the museum. Okay, well you go ahead then, please. Yeah, you go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let's talk about what has happened. Obviously, Heritage Days. I'm going to let Pam speak to that, and the Farmers of Uxbridge event. That was great. And again, it was good to have all the farmers out. Now, I'm going to have to stand up and show you this next one. The Armed Forces under the Royal Canadian Air Force have put together a plane. It's called a demonstration plane, and it's painted with the 150 colors, and I'm going to show you what it looks like. I don't know if you were around a week and a half ago over Uxbridge.
Oh, yeah.
Did you see that flying over your house?
Yes. We heard it, too.
Did you hear it? Yeah, my dog didn't really like it either, but anyway, they put together this plane between 3-wing and 4-wing out of Baggetville and Cold Lake. It's Captain Matthew Cuttrick that's flying it. He's going around Canada demonstrating it as part of the 150 event. They did the showing of the colors down at the lakefront, so he joined up with the snowbirds. It was quite amazing. They were in a pattern with him at the back and the snowbirds, so if you had a chance to go down to the air show, you probably would have seen that. So kudos to the federal government. At least they've done something good with our money. As well, Rev It Up and Go on the car show was at last week at the museum as well. Great event, well attended. I couldn't believe some of the wheels that came out for that thing. Some very avid car owners in our municipality, and again, kudos to them. Coming up, I'll just mention some of the things the mayor has. We have BIA tomorrow night. This week, I hope you've all registered for it. It's our Economic Development Advisory Committee. We're touring several businesses in the township, so if you haven't signed up for that, please do so. ASAP. Ingrid's probably sent you all an email on that one. We talked about Art in the Fringe. That's this Saturday at the museum, as well the Terry Fox Run on Sunday. And the Legion, I believe, is having a Canada 150 event as well on Sunday afternoon. So that's all I have. I'm sure there's more to add to it. Thank you, Mayor Connor.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. A lot of the things that I was going to talk about have already been talked about, but I'll just step back. YDHR, some fabulous news. Their numbers for Thomas were slightly up this year, and so far in North America, the Uxbridge event was the only one that didn't lose numbers, but actually gained a little bit. And officially, we are number 2 in North America for the Thomas the Train event. So that is really something. We beat Chicago this year. So that was really nice. Heritage Days, I mean, they were a great success. The pies and the corn sold out, and they had wonderful exhibits, and it was absolutely very positive. The Farmers of Uxbridge, we had attendance of over 300. The response from the farmers were overwhelming and positive for the event. The tourism trailer at the fair this past weekend, we were very busy. I was manning it yesterday. A lot of great people, and Celebration of the Arts has kicked off this weekend, a whole month of amazing events, including next Tuesday here in this chamber, the Juried Art Show. Please come out to it. You know, it's been mentioned the studio tour this coming weekend, Art on the Fringe. Farm to Train event that's coming up the end of September is sold out. So it's going to be a great showcase for agriculture and the food that we produce in this municipality, and it should be a great event. And thank you.
Part of the problem with being on this side of the table is we have people who like to talk over there, so I have nothing to add. But thank you both. It's already been mentioned.
Councillor Ballinger?
Thank you, Your Worship, and good morning to everyone. First thing I'd like to do is just say congratulations to all the volunteers at the fair. You know what? To spend the 3 days there, it was a tremendous success. And finally, as the Mayor said, we got wonderful weather. The second thing I'll mention is last Thursday, September the 7th, the Durham Region Trail Coordinating Committee met. And my colleague to my right here did a presentation. Mr. Barton was there to present on cycling initiatives. He did a wonderful job. He also took the time to thank all the volunteers that work on the trails and the Durham Region Mountain Biking Association. He thanked them, and I can tell you that his presentation was very well received. And the other thing is, I have the privilege at the end of the month, September the 30th, to travel with my daughter with a tourist trailer over to East Williambury to attend the Soup Festival we will be promoting the Township of Uxbridge. Turn it over to you, Mr. Barton.
Hey, thank you very much, Jack. All right. Wow, it's been a busy couple weeks. I'll just mention a few things. One was the Epic Lake to Lake Adventure Ride. That was one, it was coordinated by a number of different municipalities. We had a ride that went from Beaverton Harbor all the way down to Ajax. They stopped for lunch at the Second Wedge, and it was provided by Urban Pantry. We had over 140 riders, which was about 40% more than they expected. Fantastic event. I volunteered, but my wife rode, and lots of very, very positive feedback, and it was a great event. So, and then the fair was fantastic. The only thing I'll mention, I was there every day. I got to judge my very first baby contest, and I never thought I'd say that. I feel so judgmental, measuring feet and things like that. But anyway, I left the Derby. We were one of the last people to leave the Derby, and there's stuff everywhere and blankets, and people did their best to clean up, but it was pretty crazy. And then we went in to judge that baby contest, so we were one of the first people in. And it's amazing how the volunteers completely transformed that place. The bleachers are gone, all the concrete barriers are gone, all the wrecked cars. Like, in very few hours, volunteers in this community completely transformed that park, and it's just unbelievable what's done. And incredible event, nothing but great things to say about it. And then one more. Oh, Haley Smith, who was an Uxbridge resident, just came 13th in the world in Australia for mountain bike racing.
For what?
For mountain bike racing.
Oh.
So that's a girl, she grew up on Brookdale Road. I talked to her dad yesterday, and just unbelievable. That's a very, very competitive field, and she represented Canada very well.
Excellent.
And that was she has never come in the top 20 in the world at any World Cup, and this is the most competitive one, and she was 13.
Awesome. And I understand that Batty from Brooklyn
Yep.
placed well in a, and I don't know, I can't remember the event,
Okay.
but also, it was also a biking event.
Yeah.
So,
Emily was at the same event, and I didn't see the full results page. I just know
Yeah.
how Haley did, but Emily crashed hard on the Tuesday before the event and had a concussion and
Oh.
like lots of scrapes and bruises. So I don't know how she ended up doing. She's a tough girl. The second last Olympics she did, she broke her collarbone and still rode.
wow.
Way, way tougher than me. Anyway, thank you very much, everyone. Sorry I was so long-winded.
Okay, just a couple things that haven't been mentioned. Also on Sunday, of all the events that we're going to, which is Terry Fox Run, the Police Communications Day at it's at 15 Division, but on Reach Road, or Reach and Highway 12, okay? Art in the Fringe, and Canada 150 celebration at French 170. Also, mark down on your calendar September the 23rd, which is the Big Brothers Big Sisters event called Winding Roads Country Festival. And also on October the 24th, I encourage everyone to go to the Senior Center to listen to a speaker by the name of Jody Middick, who lost his legs in Afghanistan. I did hear him speak when he was here a couple years ago. He is a counselor in Ottawa, and I read his first book, and he's now got his second book out talking about others and what the war has done to them. So I think that would be a very interesting night, and it's being presented by the Uxbridge Scott Historical Society. So encourage you to go and listen to him. Also, just to wind up, as you well know, I sent out an email to all of you regarding what we're going to do for our volunteers, because we all recognize without volunteers in this community, we wouldn't be doing probably 90% of the things that we do. So I look forward to your comments back so that we can move on with doing whatever we choose to do in the spring. Okay? All right. Jim Dillon. Come on up, Jim. Jim is here regarding a request to fill permit to complete the placing of soil at 126 Zephyr Road. Jim, do you want to go to the podium?
Morning, everybody.
Good morning.
My wife appeared to you a few weeks ago. I guess now it's my turn.
We're
and
going to have a
Mrs.
hard time beating her because she had an excellent presentation.
I'm pretty good, too.
Oh, okay.
But, oh, yeah, okay. Oh, show of hands, 10. Anyway, in Mrs. Dillon's previous presentation to this council, she explained that prior to doing any work on improving our existing runway, our son Matt did a lot of investigation. He spoke with representatives at COPA, that's the Pilots Association, and got advice from their lawyer. During the July 31st meeting, Councillor Pat Malloy commented that Matt did a lot of investigation, but didn't include talking to the town in these investigations. When I asked Matt about this, he told me that he spoke to COPA for and the improvement of an existing runway. I mean, that was the world he was in. I mean, he took many years to get his commercial and multi-engine license, so he went to COPA to see what do I do here. So he was directed to a lawyer who specifically advised him not to speak to the town. No, I don't have that in writing. We even checked hundreds of emails, and it was a verbal statement, unfortunately. Matt was advised to post a sign specifying that the work being conducted was under federal jurisdiction and to just proceed. The lawyer reasoned that many people in the township office do not understand that all aeronautical work is governed solely by the federal government. He said that when the township saw the sign, they would then consult their lawyers, who would inform them that their bylaws were not applicable. In summary, we as a family set out to do the right thing. Since we were first contacted by Andre Grattan regarding the town's position, we have complied with the orders and stopped all work. We have studied the law cases, and to us they seem to support the position that the township does not have the power to either grant or permission governing aeronautics, including runway improvements. This will become clear once someone carries the dispute to the Supreme Court of Canada. However, we're not prepared to do that. As affirmed in Mrs. Dillon's presentation to you, regardless of our belief that we shouldn't need permission, we wish to reach an amicable solution and work cooperatively with this council. We are asking that the township issue a permit for the work, and we are asking that council charge the normal fee schedule applicable to it. We understand from Mr. Grattan that the bylaws provide that the fee is doubled if the work is started without a permit. We are asking that you waive this portion of the bylaw and charge only the regular fees. It seems to us that this portion of the bylaw is to punish those who think they can get away with doing the work clandestinely, or those who just don't care and don't try and do what's right. We do not fit either of these categories. As Mrs. Dillon said, we were not trying to hide anything, and we tried to do what's right and followed the legal advice we received, and paid handsomely for, I might add. This council knows us, and we have worked together in the past in 2 charity events, first donating $3,000 to the Uxbridge Cottage Hospital, and in another donating $7,000 to the Zephyr community to improve the playground area, one of Councillor Malloy's projects. On that sunny Sunday afternoon, Mayor O'Connor was there presenting the winning trophies. I would like to speak to another objection there might be related to waiving the doubling of the fees, as it may be seen as setting a precedent. My son and I have flown over the township and as yet have identified only one other private runway. Should someone decide to build one in the future, like ours, they will find that together we have set the precedent, that they will definitely need a permit to import fill to do so, unless or until the gray area between municipal and federal jurisdiction regarding aeronautics is clarified by the courts. We're also asking that the permit issued include not only the soil that was already being dumped, but also some additional topsoil that we believe will be necessary to create a thick turf runway. I'm asking council to authorize a permit for the work using the regular fee schedule, and once the fee is paid, to lift the outstanding work orders. I just want to add one other thing. You were telling us about your daughter or your niece in Australia? No, it's just an Oxford resident. Oh. And there was a mention of somebody else who was famous in the world of sports in this township. Our grandson, Creighton, is the Canadian National Arena Cross champion in 2 different classes. So you have another champion in the township. So, anyway, that's my presentation.
Thank you very much, Jim. First of all, I think we're all interpreting you saying CLOPA. What is it?
COPA.
C-O-P-A.
C-O-P-A.
Okay.
It's Canadian, I don't know what the 0 stands for, Pilots Association.
Okay. So, first of all, this isn't about the Dillons. This is about a policy that is township-wide. The CAO has gone out to get a copy of a letter for you from Transport Canada, which says that all municipal laws have to be abided by regarding airports. So municipal law here tells us that we have a fill bylaw, and the fill bylaw has to be adhered to. So in saying that, I want to remove the personal end of it, because it's got nothing to do with you. You're a blank face as far as I'm concerned right now in making a decision, okay? The decision is council going to support our own bylaws, or are we going to look at this in a different light? In my humble opinion, the bylaw is there for a reason, and the penalties are there for a reason. And I will now turn it over to any questions or any comments to members of the council. Councillor Bryan.
Thank you for your presentation. I can give you the rating. I preferred your wife's better. But you did fine.
Me too.
Prettier face, I guess.
I'm a blank face next to Mayor O'Connor.
Well, I didn't mean that in a derogatory way.
No,
I meant it that...
I'm being facetious.
Yeah.
I appreciate what you're saying, and I think the one I still have a problem with is coming back where you said the lawyer said don't contact the town. And I understand what you said. It becomes a he said, she said. And I think if Ingrid has this document that says it, then I think we need to stick with the bylaw as it is. But I appreciate your thoughts. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll give you a copy of this.
May I ask a question? What is the date of that letter?
This date is January the 26th, 2011.
11.
That's when we received it. And I'll tell you why we got this, is because of what was going on in Greenbank and what was being proposed in a couple other locations in our municipality. And so we were proactive in trying to find out just what jurisdiction we had. And anyway, we did get this back, and you know, the bylaws have to be adhered to. Okay? Councillor Ballinger.
Thank you, Your Worship, and to you, Jim. You say you took the lawyer's advice?
Yes.
Is your lawyer, would he send a letter to us saying this is what he advised you with?
I can ask him. But I'm afraid that letter is probably going to cost me $1,000 or more.
Wow.
I mean, if you want it, I'll get it, but that I mean, that would probably give a lot of strength to my argument, you know. So I'll call him today and I'll ask him.
Second question, I guess I'll ask this to staff. How much is the permit double the fees? Someone give me an answer.
About 10 grand.
How much?
About 10 grand.
So it's $10,000, so if it was just a single permit, it would be $5,000. That's what you would owe?
Yes, sir.
Brian, 10,000 for a double permit?
Yeah, I'd like to hear this information, please.
Is there any other questions to the delegation? Okay, so...
My question, Mayor, was along the lines of Jack. If Mr. Dillon is acting on his lawyer's advice, is there a way that you could show us that was the advice, you know? So it's not hearsay, it's an actual textual document or something?
I really know the meaning of the word hearsay. I mean,
I'm not doubting you, Mr. Dillon.
No,
all I'm showing is...
I think out loud. Sorry, I have no inner monologue, so don't think I'm being rude here.
Yeah.
But no, I talked to Matt after the night came home from that meeting. I talked to Matt and I said, "You got to find out where somebody's. You got to give me this. I mean, this is the basis of what I have to say, and if I don't have it, then I'm going to stand up there and look like an idiot." Well, here I am looking like an idiot. But I did look for the information, and I like Councillor Ballinger did ask me. When I go home today, I am going to contact that lawyer, and I'm going to say, look, I need proof that you said this.
I'm sure he'll understand that,
he's either going to give it to me or he's not. Either way, the letter I send to him, I will send which one of you wants a copy of the letter? I'll
Send
send to
it
him.
to the clerk.
Clerk's department,
The
yeah.
clerk?
Yeah.
I'm sorry? Sure, okay, yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah,
so is there
that's
any,
the best I can do.
okay. To Mr. Dillon? Yes. Okay.
Just a quick question. There was, as part of the fill operation that was taking place, there was at least one load of contaminated fill. 2, okay. And then you guys removed that and some others, from what I understand.
4.
Okay. So what was the cost to remove that contaminated fill? And I'm just curious where it ended up going.
The cost to remove the contaminated fill didn't cost us anything. Luke was there, for every load that was dumped. I was there for 85% of the loads.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was there, I'm retired, and I wanted to make sure what goes on my land, I don't want junk. Really, I'm the same as you. That's my drinking water.
Yeah.
So I don't want crap on my land. So, and other times Luke was up there, or Mac, then they run a business, they haven't got that much time, but Luke was up there, this guy dumped a load, and diesel, I mean, you could smell it, and we know it's diesel, so he looks at it, and then that was pushed, and then Luke said, you pushed it. So now Luke says, Luke took 4 loads out of there, and he told the guy who runs the excavating company that it was his responsibility. And so they paid our excavator operator to pick it up, put it in their truck, 4 trucks. 2 14-yard trucks dumped them, but there was some undeterminate amount of diesel oil in the soil, and 4 14-yard dump trucks were removed. Because when you put it, then you push it. Okay, well, we push it here. So from there to here and this wide, the blade wide, that's got to go. It went down to the virgin soil, and it was tested, and there's nothing there. So that was the history of that.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. And while we're talking, you asked what money, and while we're talking about money, I mean, I understand you've got your rules, and we have to abide by them, and we got stuck in the middle. And so far, like I said, I got legal advice. We paid 19 grand for lawyers' fees. I'm into 7 grand for soil testing. And I don't have a lot of dough, but I can't afford a lot of money. And if I was trying to be a jerk, if I was trying to just tell you guys, I don't care what your rules are, I'll do what the hell I want. Yeah, okay, nail me to the cross. But I'm not that kind of a guy, and I really can't afford a whole lot. But I understand I got to pay the piper. Well, let's do it. But I'm asking you to just tone it down. That's all. Only because I don't think I deserve to be slapped.
Okay, Mr. Dillon, thank you very much. If you'd like to have a seat now, we'll
Thank you.
dialogue with staff. Okay.
I don't have the exact quotation in front of me, but what Mr. Dillon is saying is consistent with the fee schedule. With it, the normal application fee is $750, and the normal per cubic rate is $2. So anytime it's done after the fact, you're paying both double the application fee and double the per cubic. So I believe it was in around $10,000, or at the regular fees would be in around $5,000. There is a security that's included with that once the permit's obtained, if the works are not done to the satisfaction of the CBO, then that part of that bond is held so that the township can finish the works or complete the works.
Okay, so how many truckloads?
The estimation that was given when we met with the Dillons was in between 200 and 250 loads. The quotation that was given was at 200 loads. They did have soil sampling done, testing first, and then further in-depth testing the second time. So it is consistent with the number that they provided at the meeting, so the quotation was given at 200 truckloads.
Okay, and then last week, not last week, but the last council meeting that we had, Mrs. Dillon informed us that they needed to bring in how much more?
I believe it's 20 truckloads, Mr. Dillon. I think it was 20 loads of topsoil that Mrs. Dillon had requested.
Okay, is that correct, Mr. Dillon? 20 truck? 20 truckloads of topsoil to be brought in?
That's an approximate figure because we, before starting anything, whatever topsoil was there, we pushed it aside, one side or the other, where the runway was, where we don't have this drop. And, so I'm gonna be using that plus whatever, so I'm just thinking, when I talked to Luke, he said, well, you know, we gotta take a look at it, 20 loads, okay, we'll do it. But it looks like no more than that. If we have some, then all we're gonna do is top dress it, and once it's ground, and then feed it down with the rest.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, the area definitely does need to be top dressed. When staff was there, it was, running down the hill, so it's definitely essential that it is, has some topsoil added to it.
Okay. Questions to staff? Councillor Hyatt.
So now that both of you are on the hot seat, is it your recommendation then to go with the original double the fees on both parts, or is there a compromise that can be reached here? Where do you guys stand on that?
Can I just make one comment? Just for your own information, that, our rates increase to $2, once they go over 1,000 cubic meters. So if it was less than 1,000, it's only 60 cents per cubic meter. So he's only brought in 2,000. He's brought in, not only, but he's brought in 2,000 cubic meters. So, it's not like it's 80,000. You know, we have that number, $2 per cubic meter for large operations. This is slightly over 1,000, so I wouldn't say it's a large operation. So maybe take that into consideration. If you understand what I'm saying, like if it was 1,000, double the fee wouldn't be as much of a penalty, as $2 per cubic meters, right? I mean, you're still doubling the fee, but under 1,000, it's only 60 cents per cubic meter. Rather than the $2. Right.
Sorry. But it's not $2, it's 60 cents, right?
If it was under 1,000 cubic meters, it would only be 60 cents. So doubling it would only be $1.20 per cubic meter. I don't know if I'm making it more confusing, but all I'm saying is that penalty is a lot more, just because
Because of the
he's
amount.
over that 1,000 cubic meter.
Okay. So my understanding is that they brought in between 200 and 250 loads. Okay? A load is how many? $10 to $12. Pardon me? Okay, so, all right. Councillor Hyatt, Councillor Bryan.
We look alike, Gord. You know, in listening to this, and certainly listening to what Councillor Ballinger had to say, I don't think we want to be too punitive. I think if Mr. Dillon could come with that letter from the lawyer that proves that he's had bad advice, then I think I'm more willing to say, let's just go with the regular fee. If he can't provide that letter that says he was given bad advice, then I think we stick with what the bylaw is. It's my 2 cents.
Just curious, gentlemen, what have we spent on this file so far? Just an estimate, within a couple $1,000 bucks.
I've had several conversations with Darren Earthy about it. Obviously, from the township's perspective, it's lower because we sent them a fill order. They complied with the fill order. They stopped. So it hasn't involved anything through Superior Court. It's just more been legal advice, so I would say a couple of $1,000 to probably $5 at the most at this point.
Okay. So what's council's wishes here?
Well, I don't mind saying where I'm at with it. I think there's a mistake that's been made. I think when they were asked to stop, they stopped. I believe they got bad advice. I don't have anything in front of me, and I'm leaning to say, quite honestly, that sometimes you forgive things, that I would give a recommendation that they pay the normal fee, and that's where I'm at.
Without any evidence of...
No, it's pending on, as we asked before, that we see a letter from the lawyer saying, you know what, I gave these people this advice, and they acted on it, and that's where I'm at.
Okay, do we have a seconder? You're seconding it? Okay, now, I'm not going to argue about this, but you're setting a precedent, a serious one. You've got a bylaw in place, and you're going to have to look at that bylaw now. So, all those in favor of the motion as it was presented? Amendments always in order.
I'm struggling to support, because we have significant costs in this, I'm struggling to support no increase in our regular fee structure. I could support going kind of halfway. So if the regular fee would have been $5,000, the double would be 10. If we met in the middle at $7,500, that covers the majority of our costs, our increased costs. I could support that. If you would, do you oppose that or not, Jack?
Well, really, that's contrary to the motion, so what we need to do is either support
Okay.
the motion or deny the motion and then go back.
Okay.
All right. Yes, can you read it, please?
All right, the motion so far is that the Dillons pay the normal fee pending on a letter from their lawyers that stating that they gave bad advice.
Okay. It's moved in a second. All those in favor? So motion's passed. Okay, so Mr. Dillon, what we need, you're still not able to go through with anything until we receive your letter, okay, from the lawyer. Okay? And I hope you understand the process here, that we have laws that we feel that are placed for everybody. And again, it isn't about you personally, it's about our bylaws. And, okay? So if you can bring in that letter, and then we can get this file moving. Can you, sorry, can you come up to the microphone? It's...
like I said to Councillor Ballinger and Hyatt, I will put a letter together and I will send it to the lawyer. I will do my best to get it done today. I will send you a copy of the letter that I sent him, and whatever I get back from him, I will forward to council and or to the clerk rather, and we'll have to go from there.
Okay.
That's the best I can do, but I will do it, and I'm not afraid to ask, because like you say, hearsay is hearsay, and I'm going to try and prove my point. I didn't want to come here without something, and I had to anyway, so I'm definitely going to endeavor to get that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have anything? No? Okay. Need a motion to approve the minutes? Councillor Bryan and Councillor Beach. All those in favor? Carried. Correspondence.
Correspondence number 117 from the Region of Durham, REH Friendly Durham Strategy and Action Plan.
So, what they're asking here for is a staff person. We just refer this to staff and let them come up with whoever's going to attend. Yes.
How does this fit in with the committee that we are forming presently, Ingrid? Maybe you can answer that.
Actually, Jack sits on the, committee at the region.
The region?
And, Pat is working with a group of individuals in town that are interested in this.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that all the material that has come, through the region, Pat has got a copy of.
Okay.
So
So they're
that
working together as opposed to
they
separately?
haven't sat down and met
No.
together yet,
Haven't sat down yet?
but, that will come. And, but certainly the Uxbridge group knows where the region's coming from.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is Rebecca a staff member? Oh, Rebecca's on the local committee, right, but we need staff person for the... Okay, so staff will come up with a person, might be Rebecca Harmon, we'll see. All right, so I need a seconder on Councillor Bellinger. All those in favor? Carry.
Correspondence number 118, Region of Durham, RE large-scale fill operation, concession 9, north of Bloomington Road, 14245, 9th line, Whitchurch, Stouffville.
Okay, this was a letter in response to my concerns as to what was going on. I still don't quite understand why we were not, informed. I believe under the law, it says that we should have been informed as a neighboring municipality, but perhaps there is a, distance. It's 1.25 miles from our border at this point. So anyway, it's good to know that the region of Durham is on it, and that they know now that of our concerns for the water resource area. Councillor Hyatt.
Thank you, Mayor. Madam Mayor, is this Greg Limer, is he the source water protection person from the region?
Yes.
He is, okay, thanks.
Okay. So I need just receive. Councillor Barton and Councillor Beach. All those in favor? Carry.
Correspondence number 119, Region of Durham, RE Uxbridge Urban Area Service Capacity.
Okay, well, I see several people in the audience that are interested in this piece of correspondence. Basically what it's saying is that what council has based their decision on, that we will not be doing anything in phase 2 until such time as phase 1 has been considerably built out. It does tell us, though, that the planning horizon did not include phase 2, so the work was not done on that. And it could possibly, the plant might be able to service up to 16,470 once the upgrades to the oxidization system is undertaken at the sewage plant. So the capacity of the service is limited, and it's important that the township ensure the capacity is there for phase 1 before we get into any phase 2 lands or any phase 2 lands to be considered. The existing infrastructure in phase 1 cannot convey sewage, okay, or supply water to parts of phase 2. That's laid out very clear in this document. There's also another one that speaks specifically, and we've had a lot of conversations and a lot of inquiries about 7370 Center Road, and it states that there is no ability to convey sewage from this location to the water pollution, control plant. It does go on to say it's likely that the, Mason, in phase two, are the only lands that have potential for development without a significant infrastructure, investment. And, I think that is about all that, the letter is telling us. It's approximately $100,000 to do the study, that we would require. So it's something that if you're going to want to do that, it's gonna have to be included in this, 2018 budget. Councillor Hyatt?
Would that budget be at the regional level, or are we talking locally?
No, local.
Locally? And how long would that study take? Does they have an estimate how long that would be?
Probably about 6 months
6 months?
or more. Am I correct, Ingrid?
Yeah, I think it'll probably take about 6 months, and the cost is fully the township. Basically, what the region's saying to the township is, if you want to see phase two go, you need to undertake this study in order to justify that, in fact, that we are ready for phase two to happen. So the cost would be on the township to do that. But I think the biggest part about this is that we would be identifying what lands could potentially be developed still in phase one. And I did a little bit of a rough calculation on the weekend, and there's still a fair amount of capacity that's going to be used in phase one.
So realistically, we could use up the existing capacity in phase one in the next year or so.
I think the challenge is, and it's always been the challenge, even when the sewage allocation came in, that council put in 2008, I think it was, is that nobody knows how much capacity is going to be left after phase one is built out, and then the question becomes, is there enough capacity for phase two or part of phase two? And if there is a limited amount left to go to phase two, how does that phase two capacity get divided up? And that's always been sort of the lingering thought, is how would you actually deal with that? Let's say you had 200 units and you needed 800, how would you split that up? So.
But wouldn't we know within the next few months what capacity is available after the existing projects in phase one are built out, or allocated, I guess? But without having to spend $100,000, wouldn't we know we have, to pull a number out of a hat, 100 units left at the end of the existing developments being allocated sewage capacity?
I think what the region is saying is that there has to be a bit more thought into the process, instead of us just coming forward and just saying, okay, we think we have enough. I think what the region wants us to do is carefully look at phase one, right? And make sure that we're not missing something in phase one. There's land in phase one that might potentially get redeveloped for intensification. We're seeing that now. 62 mil is a prime example, where a single-family dwelling on a fairly large lot gets redeveloped. We're seeing infill lots that are maybe larger, oversized lots that are being sold off, and people are coming back, subdividing them, and put 3 houses on them. So it's really taking the township, what the region's saying is, really we need to go through that exercise and make sure that we haven't really missed anything. Do we know the true potential for phase one? And then at that point, if there's a study that does go back to the region of the municipalities of the opinion that phase two, we're ready for it, I think that's what the region is saying. It just can't be on a whim.
And I think it also depends on the lands that we own, that are going to become surplus, because they're now playing fields, and once we develop fully Kennedy Fields, the fields of Uxbridge, what type of development are we going to allow? So it's really hard to put a figure on that at this point. And then we got 200 units that we've put in reserve for downtown.
Do we know, I guess, Mayor or Jack, if the region's contemplating other technologies other than the existing water pollution control plan? Are they looking at what happens when we reach that maximum number, or are we handcuffed? Do we know that yet, or can you provide any input, I guess, is my question?
Every day, Mr.
Every
Hyatt,
day.
Things change. Every
they talked
day,
about
and
the
there's
Durham
new
Forest
solutions.
there 10 years ago, and I'm not sure where that went, or is it still on the table, or maybe you want to go and ask them and come back and tell us? Because really, you know, this could be built out in the next year or two, and then we're really handcuffed without
Well,
any
no, I think the
possibilities.
region knows our position and knows that something has to happen. I haven't asked what the cost of this oxidization, is going to cost, and if that's going to allow X number more units on or whatever. But certainly, we've got a very forward-thinking commissioner, and,
Well, I know they're trying to squeeze every drop, excuse the pun, out of the existing plant.
yeah.
With, you know, they changed the filter and all that stuff. I just think beyond that, are they thinking, you
Well,
know,
I
5, 10 years down the road, where are we gonna go from here, I guess, is the question.
I think their concern too is the river that takes it to Simcoe. So, okay. So, what's your wishes? Receive it for information? Councillor,
Yeah, at this point, yes.
Councillor Martin?
I wonder if we should add the $100,000 to the wish list for...
Sorry?
I think we should add the study onto our wish list for budget consideration.
Okay. So Donna, can you, put that on the list, please? Okay, receive for information, Councillor Barton and Councillor Hyatt. All those in favor? Carried.
Correspondence number 120, Township of Oro-Medonte, RE Ontario's Wildlife Damage Compensation Program.
Councillor Beach?
This is something I believe that we should support, because as it stands, the local livestock evaluator only now takes pictures and fills in a report with no actual input. And we're getting more and more livestock through either bear, coyotes, cougar happening, and it can take up to 6 months before a farmer finds out. And I guess I wonder who's doing the evaluating on the other end. Is it some book person or somebody that actually knows and understands a kill site, et cetera, et cetera? And I mean, you know, we could always, you know, if you wanted information, you could ask Dale Feasby, but I think we should support this by all means.
Okay. Seconded by Councillor Hyatt. All those in favor? Carried.
Correspondence number 121, from Loopster-Nixon, RE SAS Aggregate Pit Expansion, appeals by SAS Aggregate Limited, reporting letter, OMB hearing July 17th, 2017.
Receive for info.
Yes, receive for information. I feel that we did very well as far as what we could accumulate for our residents as safeguards with this.
And I'd like to add to that, when you look at the extra plantings that will be on site here, this will be much easier to live with, in my opinion, you know, in 10, 15 years. It will drastically change that landscape and make it less offensive.
So you're seconding it?
Yeah.
All those in favor? Carried.
Correspondence number 122, Big Brothers Big Sisters of North Durham Region, RE request for sponsorship of Winding Roads Country Festival in Port Perry on Saturday, September 23rd, 2017.
Councillor Hyatt?
I was gonna talk to you about this prior to the meeting. You had a few passes that were given to us for golf. Could we auction or give one of them
Sure.
to auction?
Mm-hmm.
Would be my suggestion.
Yeah, great idea.
We had some passes for Wind Dance Golf Club from the,
I'll second that motion, because you were looking right at me. And considering that this sponsorship is almost 2 months old, so we've already missed the banner that's gone up. The banner's actually at McDonald's this morning. I saw it as you drive in, so I think that's a great idea, Councillor Hyatt.
Okay. So, all those in favor? Carried.
Correspondence number 123, David Sudd, Moorfield Properties Limited, RE request for sanitary sewer and water allocation for 154 and 164 Cemetery Road, Moorfield Properties.
Okay, I just had a quick question, and I'm glad to see Mr. Sudd here. I thought that, the apartment was withdrawn. And, Yeah, so can you, can I have a motion to, thank you, Councillor Ballinger and Councillor, Barton, to hear. Can you come forward, please? Yeah, so when I was reading this, I don't have any issue with it, except I thought, why are we reserving for an apartment if it had been withdrawn?
No, it was not withdrawn, and it went through the region, and nothing changed.
Initially, the region had talked about, separating the two, and what ended up happening is at the last minute, all of the details were worked out with Regional Works, and they were both put back together again, so they were both on what you approved.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so we just received this for information. Councillor Bryan, Councillor Barton, all those in favor? Carried.
Correspondence number 124, Jan Wilson, Optimist Club of Uxbridge, RE request to host the 10th anniversary of the Optimist Fantasy of Lights in Elgin Park from December 9th, 2017 to January 1st, 2018.
Councillor Hyatt?
Yeah, I'll support this. This is a great event. It brings a ton of people to Uxbridge. You'd be surprised how many come up from South Durham and everything else to see these lights, so I'll support it.
Councillor Bryan? Yeah, questions? Councillor Ballinger?
Yeah, just to, I think everybody was aware, we did solve the problem with the big trailer with all the equipment and the lights, so it's, yeah, everything's good.
Councillor Barton?
Yeah, I think we should forward this to our tourism department. You know how they've got the plan a day, initiative? I think we should build this into one of our tourist day plans.
I can add that to my motion.
Okay, great, thanks.
Last year, if you'll recall, with the sidewalks that we put in the park, we cannot plow them with our roads department because we'll basically tear them up. What happened last year is council asked them to look after the snow removal. I think it may be appropriate for you to ask them again to look after snow removal. If we need to look after it, we'd have to hire a contractor to do it. And I think last year they ended up having somebody donate the time to do it for them. So perhaps that's something you might want to consider adding to the motion.
I talked to Ms. Wilson last year to keep the channels open with Bob so that we didn't run into that problem at the 11th hour, so that he knew ahead of time what he was facing. Derek did? Okay.
Okay, so I think you need to add that then to your, that the snow plowing, okay?
Yeah,
That the township
Open
does not have
communication.
the equipment, that we
Okay.
can do it,
right. I'll add that too.
okay? So all those in favor,
On that, wouldn't our sidewalk equipment manage that with 2 passes?
It can, but the thing is, the way it worked out last year is because they want it plowed at all kinds of different times and
okay.
salted and sanded, that it just ended up that getting somebody to actually take that equipment out sometimes is a bit of a challenge as well. I'm not sure if we can actually handle it with it.
Okay.
But it has to be maintained at a standard. So they last year went and talked to somebody, I think it was Derek Hayes, who ended up volunteering to do it. I think it's reasonable to ask. There's no charge for the use of the park or the hydro or anything at this point. So perhaps it's something you might want to consider.
No, I support that, I was just curious. Thanks.
okay, so all those in favor? Carried.
Correspondence number 125, Gloria Ange, President, Uxbridge Scott Historical Society, RE request for relief / discounted fee for the use of the Uxbridge Senior Center to host a special event with guest speaker Jody Metique on Tuesday, October 24th, 2017.
Councillor Beach?
I'd like to support that because, I mean, it's a great event to have, and it is raising money for the museum. So I think it's a win-win thing if we can do that.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hyatt, or Councillor Bryant, all those in favor? Carried. Brian?
Just a point of
Yeah.
clarification, are we discounting the fee or relieving them of the fee?
I'd like to see it relieved.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Correspondence number 126, Eric Pay to Granville Anderson MPP, RE request to reroute truck traffic off of Highway 47 and Brock Street.
Received this for information. Councillor
Yeah,
Martin?
yeah, I'd
and
like to make the motion to
Coun-
receive it.
Councillor, Bryan. All those in favor? Carried.
Correspondence number 127, Eric Pay, RE concerns regarding track traffic in downtown and a request to construct a permanent bypass of the downtown Uxbridge.
Okay, I have got it in my, diary to call him. He did inform me that he was going to be away until the end of October. I would like him to come in and speak to council. You know, we've had the same requests from people in Goodwood, and, I think it's time that this discussion was, made in public, because we're talking millions of dollars to put a bypass through. And, the other part that I don't understand for the life of me, putting in a bypass, there's going to be development on that bypass. Or there's going to be, what you're doing is removing it from what's there now to somebody else. So I think we need to have a discussion in the public of how these people, I'm not saying that they aren't going to come up with some great ideas. They might, but I don't think they understand what the cost of constructing a road today costs us. And already our budget is close to 50% for roads. And to even, I can't fathom how Uxbridge would put a bypass through in either one of these locations, as much as we'd even like to do it. We don't have the ability to pay it. Also, there's a lot of planning, and there's a lot of environmental assessments that you'd have to go through. So, expropriation, that would, you know, and that's what would happen, I'm sure. Councillor Bryan.
I'll give you that motion to bring Mr. Pay in to speak with us in October. I think that would be great, because I think we can get the facts out there and certainly move forward with that.
And I would like to hear what he has, I mean, these people don't make these sort of suggestions, I'm sure, without a lot of thought, so let's hear what he has to say.
I just want to make a comment, and I'll second that, bringing him in. But not only, like what you're saying, the expense, the environmental conservation, because there's so much conservation area in our municipality, but also that means severing up, breaking up farmland, agricultural land that we're supposedly supposed to be preserving. So that's an issue.
Yeah.
Up several times in the past is there already is a bypass in place. I mean, the region has spent close to $1 million, I think, at 23 and 21 to put that right lane in.
More than that.
And I know they were contemplating, and I'm not sure where that's at, taking the one out at 47 and Lake Ridge. Remember, we talked about that before. That may help divert the trucks south on Lake Ridge so that they're not coming through the middle of town. I know some of them do to get their lunch or whatever they're doing, but I think most of them could go down south and then across into Coppins Corners. And I know they've talked, Jack, about redeveloping that intersection as well. So that, to me, makes more sense than trying to create a whole new bypass, if that's the proper word. You know.
Councillor?
Yeah, thank you, Worship. Just, you know what, it's not just Uxbridge. Gosh, you want to see something that's dangerous and everything, go up to Sunderland. My goodness, rolling out of that Brecon pit, coming down Highway 12, instead of staying on 12, they cut through Sunderland now over to 23. Anybody that goes through Sunderland, when the cars are parked on both sides, I mean, we had a deputation of residents from Sunderland appear before Public Works. I mean, let's say, if the trucks aren't moving, the economy isn't moving either, you know, you can only do so much. I know for a fact the number of trucks that come through Uxbridge now are not near as much as they were before. I know that.
The other thing too is, we're seeing a lot more truck traffic through downtown Leasdale. a lot more trucks are using the Sanford Side Road, and a lot of trucks are using Ravenshoe, coming out into the four corners, that hidden corner at Ravenshoe and Regional Road 1. There's a lot of trucks on that as well, so a lot of stuff is moving into areas where they haven't been going before.
And this brings me to my, I can't wait to hear the discussion, because the OMB has, told, Giordano, although it's called GeoFam, they are, supposed to be paying a municipality that the road that their pit in, is coming out on, even though they're paying another municipality through their, levies. So they're paying levies in, Kawartha, but the road they're coming out on is in Simcoe. So the OMB said, we want you to pay and look at paying Simcoe for the use of their road. Well, if that ever passes, guess what? Then we're going to be going to Brecon, we're going to go to Sunderland, and all those pits that are going to be, or that are coming out and coming on our roads, and say, okay, we want you to share in this. There isn't a chance that's going to happen. But I could not believe that decision, or it wasn't a decision, it was a recommendation by the OMB, that now gravel pits have to pay, or gravel industry has to pay, even though paying a levy, they have to pay for a road. I don't know where this hearing person came, but it would just cause chaos. I don't think the gravel industry is paying anywhere near enough. I sat on that, and still sitting on it, board that says that we want $1 per ton, or tone, versus 6 cents, because that is reality, is what it costs us to maintain our roads. But you know what? They went through the new legislation, as we saw, and they pulled out the fee structure and said, we'll deal with it separately. Do you think there's an election going on? Anyway, I don't want to get too worked up. So I have a mover and a seconder, do I? All those in favor? Carried.
Correspondence number 128, Bob McDonald, RE Hydro Seeding of the Uxbridge Off-Leash Dog Park.
I understand that Pat Malloy and Bob have been working with the dog park people, and it's been worked out. So I think we just received, okay, by Councillor Bryan and Councillor Ballinger.
And the fence is going up too, if you haven't been by there.
Yes.
It's starting to take shape, so.
For the life of me, I don't know why we need a manicured dog park when you let your dogs run through the forest, but anyway, it's a story for another day. Yeah.
Correspondence number 129, Michelle Vinnie, RE Hydro One's acquisition of Avista, the Fair Workplaces Better Jobs Act 2017, and new funding opportunities.
Councillor Barton?
Yeah, I'd just like to make a comment on the hydro acquisition of that coal-powered plant. Everyone always talks about wanting, hydro and government to act more like business. And I know we voted a while ago on this. This is a time when, Ontario Hydro acquired a company that had a number of different properties and businesses built into one. They had the coal-fired power plant, and that was just one part of their business. This happens in local business all the time, where you acquire one thing, you've got one part of the business that doesn't quite adhere to your standards, but over time you change that and change the business model. I don't have a problem with this one, and I did change my mind on what we voted last time.
Okay.
So
that's fair. All right. So we just want to receive this for information. What do you want to do with it? Councillor Hyatt?
I would receive it. I just wonder why it's coming from an MPP that's outside of Uxbridge. Shouldn't this be coming from Granville
Probably
Anderson's
because
office?
she is the one that has been
Is doing it?
servicing Uxbridge.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do I have a mover and a seconder? Okay, so Councillor Barton and Councillor Beach. All those in favor? Carried.
Correspondence number 130, Amy Pelletier, RE request to lift a 1-foot reserve from a property located at 13249 Regional Road 39, Zephyr.
Okay. So what they want to do is to take off their driveway on Regional Road 39 and put it onto Horner Court. So I think we should just refer this to the Roads Department. Okay? Okay. Thank you. All those in favor? Carried. Okay. We have a committee, sorry. Report number 10 of Planning and Economic Development, dated June the 26th. Thank you. And do I have a seconder? Councillor Beach. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, the next we have a resolution, and it's regarding what Councillor Barton had just referred to. I have a mover and a seconder. Whereas this council recognizes that in Ontario, burning coal to produce electricity is illegal. And whereas the health and the environment costs of operating giant coal stations add pollution and greenhouse gases to our environment. And whereas this council condemns Hydro One's decision to purchase Avista Corp., which owns part of one of the largest polluters in the U.S. Northwest, the coal strip power plant in Montana. And whereas this council believes Hydro One should obtain approval from the Ontario Energy Board before pursuing such expansion in the United States. Therefore, be resolved that the Council of the Corporation of Uxbridge asks that Premier Wynne direct Ontario One to abstain from the coal business and encourages the Ontario Energy Board to make the promotion of energy conservation and efficiency Hydro One's most profitable course of action. Questions? All those in favor? All those in favor? Those opposed? Motion's carried. Going to reports of council. Report CAO 7 of 17, Ingrid Svelmus, regarding deficiencies in lot 14 to 19. Stones Throw Crescent and Goodwood. Support the recommendation.
Provide an update as well that the developer has already signed the agreement, and this is just for our purposes, just so that if we do need to use a letter of credit, we can, but the developer is in agreement.
This has been going on now for 2 years. I am tired of it, and I hope it gets fixed. Okay, it's Pam and Dave. All those in favor? Carried. Report CAO 08 of Ingrid, amendment to reserve capacity for downtown. This is just a bylaw confirming council's actions. Councillor Hyatt and Councillor Bryan support the recommendation. All those in favor? Carried. Report 3817 of Catalina, Deputy Clerk, Accessory Advisory Committee logo. Councillor,
I'll make a motion that we go with option 1.
where is it? Oh, I did this one. This is it. Okay. You're both going for option 1? Okay. Comments, questions? Yeah.
I guess if it's called the Accessibility Advisory Committee, if we're going to go with option 1, would it not make more sense to rename that committee to Accessible Uxbridge? Otherwise, you're going to confuse people. If anybody wants to comment on that, or do we have to do that? I mean, if it's for the purposes of the Accessibility Advisory Committee, their name should appear somewhere, I would think, on the logo or below it. If we're going to go with option 1, then it makes sense to me to rename that committee to Accessible Uxbridge. I mean, I have no problem doing that, but Does everybody follow me?
I could comment on it.
I like accessible Uxbridge, but I think it's, you need to keep it all the same or not have two different kind of titles, so.
So, I suggest we go with the Accessory Advisory Committee's suggestion on logo, which was option one, which we all seem to agree with. And why don't we pass that to the committee and let them decide if the name should change?
Just refer back for consideration?
Yeah, with our suggestions, yeah.
Okay. All right, so I need a motion then on Councillor Beach and Councillor,
We gave a motion, but then we amended it.
oh, I hadn't called the vote yet, had I?
No.
No. Okay,
Okay.
so you're gonna withdraw that, or you're gonna make that an amendment to Okay, make it an amendment then to, refer it back to the advisory committee for, their consideration.
So are we referring it back for them to consider the name change but not the logo, or both?
Just the name change, I think. Yeah. Okay? All those in favor? Carried. TR 3817 of Susan Strawn regarding tax collector and an extension agreement.
Yep.
Thank you. Gord Hyatt and Councillor Ballinger, all those in favor? Carried. 5217 of Brian Pagoso, re-land division application. Page 60. Councillor Hyatt?
It's tabled.
Pardon me?
Are we lifting this from the table? I wasn't here on the 21st, so I'm not sure what
Oh,
happened with
okay.
this file.
No, we're not. The recommendation is council
Just receive the
recommends to the
report?
region of Durham that we have no objections, and then it continues.
Okay.
Okay, so, this is, concession for, is this yours, Dave?
Yeah, this is mine. This is the White Rose property.
Right.
This is the one that we discussed where the property could be cleaned up.
Yes.
It's a struggle with, it could be cleaned up. This might be a chance to get some.
Have it done.
To have it done.
Yeah.
There are no official deficiencies on the property.
No. Okay, so a good move by, Councillor Barton, seconded by Councillor Beach. All those in favor? Carried. Bylaws. Oh, sorry, no, there's one more. Report, 06 of Dave, regarding, the, heavy truck traffic in Uxbridge. And I think that this would be a good, process to go through, because I don't know, and maybe the dialogue is gonna have to take place with the province of Ontario, with Durham Region, and with, our own Works Department, to find out the answers. But I think it would be good to find out the answers, to our questions regarding what ability we have to close what roads. Do we have an ability to close roads, at this level? I think what, Dave is asking is very fair, so we'll move. Okay, I have a mover. And seconded by Councillor Beach. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, now we're into bylaws. Anybody have any questions on these bylaws?
I had one question for Catalina. Just wondering if you can clarify. This was number 135.
Yes, and the address for that property is Part Lot 20, Concession 2, Regional Road number 39.
Okay.
In Zephyr.
Oh, it's Zephyr?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think this was before my time here, so. Okay, I'll go through the bylaws. Okay. Bylaws requiring 3 readings. First and second reading, moved by Councillor Dave Barton, seconded by Councillor Jack Ballinger, that leave be granted to introduce bylaws number 2016-155 and 2017-128 to 2017-136. And the same be read a first and second time.
All those in favor, first and second reading. Questions?
Question on 155, my apologies.
Sorry, what?
I just have a question on 155. Sorry, I just skipped my notes here. This was the dead end. Is that what they're referring to here?
Yeah, this is the Zephyr Side Road?
There was a chap that came in several months ago, right?
Yeah,
And there was some question over the use of that road. Did we solve that issue?
We did. I spoke to Ben about this a couple days ago, and
So are we paying for the road, or is he paying for it?
he's paying for the road, and we had some concerns with Pete. And
There was Pete, and there was the standard of the road, I think was the other thing.
so,
If he was building it, would it be to our standards? I
and,
guess?
well, and I think sort of, because we had that same question on the fourth concession. There was one that came up 2 weeks ago, I think, or
Yeah.
maybe at our last meeting.
Being treated the same as the one that we had at the dead end on the top of the fourth?
Okay,
Okay,
yeah. I just know there were some questions outstanding,
yeah.
they'd been resolved then, okay.
Yeah, and the issues with the peat and everything else have been solved. Okay.
Okay, so leave be granted for third reading?
Wait, did we vote on?
No, we didn't. All those in favor? Carried. Now leave be granted for third.
Okay. Third reading. Moved by Councillor Dave Barton, seconded by Councillor Jack Ballinger, that bylaws number 2016-155 and 2017-128 to 2017-136 now be read a third time, finally passed, and the mayor and clerk duly sign and seal same.
All those in favor? Carried. Okay. Unfinished business? Anything? Yes?
Yes, we spoke about changing the bylaws for accessible parking last meeting or the meeting before, and we're changing that so our bylaw states that we only require a sign.
Mm-hmm.
And it was uncertain whether or not we would still need to put the symbol on the pavement, just as best practices. So we've spoken to Ben. We had a meeting with Andre from Bylaw, and we've all sort of decided that we'll keep the symbol as best practices, but that the bylaw only requires the sign. And the reason for that is the Accessibility Committee was concerned that more people would miss the sign and then park illegally. And a perfect example, the new accessible parking spot right at Elgin Pond there, that just went in, and I was pulling into it, and because there's two spots lengthwise, it was hard to determine where the spot was.
Yeah.
And I made the mistake and then corrected it, and then the car behind me also parked in the spot. So I think it's a real concern. If I'm making that error, I'm sure other residents will as well. So I would like to make a motion that we, as best practices, continue to put the symbol on the road.
So can I just ask then, why would we change our bylaws? Why would we change our bylaw if we're going to do what our bylaw says today?
Can I answer that for you?
Sure.
The issue that Andre was struggling with is when there's snow covering up the symbol, or when,
Right.
or when, it's been sitting in salt and it's, April 15th and you can't get the paint on at
Right.
with the right contrast, then we still want to be able to fight those tickets and make sure that people are not parking in those spots. But when the appropriate time comes and we can get paint on those, I feel we should.
Yes, I agree. I'll tell you, the blue on the road is certainly, you see it long before you see the sign.
Yeah.
So, okay. Thank you for bringing that to our attention.
No problem.
Yep. Councillor Beach, all those in favor? Carried.
Thanks, guys.
Other business, Ontario Heritage Trust, Lieutenant Governor's Ontario Heritage Awards, the 2017 Durham Region Mayor's Gala, which I'm not part of, thank you. It's in Ajax, and, Region of Durham Annual Joint Accessible Advisory Committee Forum, discussions on municipal class environment assessment, and, need a motion to receive those. Councillor Beach and Councillor Hyatt. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, we're going into camera, but before we do, go to the press or and the public. Councillor?
I just have one other item of
Oh,
other
sorry.
business, Mayor Connor. As we have all seen recently, the devastation caused by the hurricanes in Florida. There's been Harvey, there's Irma, there's Jose coming. I'd like to make a motion that we put $1,000 from Gulf Fund probably to the Red Cross in aid of the devastation that's happened down there. I mean, they need as much help as they can get, those folks. I mean, everything is underwater right now, or it's either that or it's been blown out. So I would suggest that we make a $1,000 donation.
Just a point of order, I think that's great, Gord, but the new procedures that it goes to the Golf Committee, then we get back to you? Yeah,
Well,
which is fine.
I'll recommend that then.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay. So you're gonna make the recommendation to the Golf Committee? Okay. No other seconder? Councillor, Bryan, all those in favor? Carried. Okay, press. Don't everybody speak once here.
So for the selecting of the logo, so you guys, they wanted you guys to select option 1, and that's the one you guys have chosen, that's the one you guys are going with, is that correct?
Yeah,
Like it's all confirmed, you guys are just not sure if the name's gonna be changed yet or not?
we're sending it back for Alicia? Moya? Nothing? Mr. Sud? Okay. Okay, I need a motion please to go into council to deal with potential litigation matter. Councillor, Bryan and Councillor Barton. All those in favor? Carried. Have a great week, everybody.